Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
I shall return again. I shall return to laugh and love and watch with wonder eyes at golden noon the forest fires burn, wafting their blue-black smoke to sapphire skies. I shall return to loiter by the streams that bathe the brown blades of the bending grasses and realize once more my 1,000 dreams of water rushing down the mountain passes. I shall return to hear the fiddle and fife of village dances, dear delicious tunes that stir the hidden depths of native life, stray melodies of dim remembered runes. I shall return again to ease my mind of long, long years of pain.
This is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. I will never leave her shores. I will never run away. I will always believe in the black, the green, the gold, I say. Our nation great above the trials. We must face the test of time. As our people, they are strong and we are going to get along. Though some people say we are poor, but the progress you make, my friend, is not always a rich you are. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Let us stop for a minute, count our blessings one by one. We should never be disloyal, but stand up and keep strong. My Jamaica is a beautiful island. She is the core of the Caribbean Sea. And our people, they are free. No oppression here to see. With the prettiest woman there be. On the hills and the plains and the rivers and the valleys always beckon to me. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, the land of my birth. Miss a tourist, leave your land and come. Tarry here for a while and have a bed in the warm sun. We will share a lot with you. Our people, they are true. They will want to be with you. They will love, they will help. If you wish, my friend, you can live. You will be a happier one in the land of the rising sun. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica.
21 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the 12th day of the 8th month of 2021, the International Year of Peace and Trust, the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables, the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, and the International Year of Health and Care Workers. Put another way, it's the 12th day of the 3rd month of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season, and the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, is reporting that what was Tropical Storm Fred yesterday is now Tropical Depression Fred. And Tropical Depression Fred has been located about 105 miles west of Great Inagua, Bahamas. Tropical Depression Fred has been causing heavy rainfall today, which could lead to flash urban and small stream flooding, along with possible rapid river rises and the potential for mudslides in the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Tropical storm conditions are possible in the southeastern Bahamas and portions of Cuba today. Beginning tomorrow, Friday, heavy rainfall could lead to aerial, urban, and small stream flooding, along with possible rapid river rises across southern Florida. Heavy rainfall associated with Fred will impact the remainder of Florida and parts of the southeast this weekend into next week. There's a risk of tropical storm conditions beginning early Saturday in the Florida Keys and South Florida. This risk will spread northward along portions of the Florida West Coast and to the Florida Panhandle through Monday. A tropical storm watch will likely be issued for portions of the Florida Keys and the southern Florida Peninsula this afternoon. Meanwhile, a small area of low pressure located 1,200 miles east of the Lesser Antilles is likely to become a tropical depression by the weekend and is expected to reach the Leeward Islands late Saturday or early Sunday. Here in Jamaica, the rest of this afternoon will see scattered showers and thunderstorms across sections of most parishes. Tonight, showers and isolated thunderstorms across sections of eastern and south central parishes. Otherwise, cloudy. It's Arequipa Week in Peru, Defense Forces Day in Zimbabwe. The Queen's birthday is being celebrated in Thailand, and the annual pilgrimage continues in Montserrat. It's International Youth Day. Hoy es jueves el 12 de agosto 2021 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est jeudi le 12 août 2021 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service pour une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 13h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue.
We will share a lot with you. Our people, they are true. They will want to be with you. They will love, they will help, they will give. If you wish, my friend, you can live. You will be a happier one in the land of the rising sun. I said, this is the land of my birth.
All we're saying is it's Thursday, the 12th of August, 2021, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
I will always believe in the black, the green, the gold, I say. Our nation great above the trials. We must face the test of time. As our people, they are strong and we are going to get along. Though some people say we are poor, but the progress you make, my friend, is not always a ritual. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Let us stop for a minute, count our blessings one by one. We should never be this.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
With all that's been happening for 2020, it may be easy to forget about the transatlantic hurricane season. But don't worry too much because we've got you covered. Literally, with tarpaulins, umbrellas, and raincoats.
We have candles, flashlights, lanterns, and batteries, cleaning and sanitizing supplies, brooms, rakes, bins, multi-purpose containers, and buckets. We even have drinking water and non-perishable food items too.
Let us help keep you and your family taken care of this hurricane season. Stay aware, stay safe, and get prepared. At Mashco, at 30 years, giving you more.
Luxury beaches, countless grains of pure white sand, tranquil breeze and palm trees, our beautiful island Jamaica. Oh, Jamaica. We miss the vibrancy of our tourism product, but hope is on the horizon. At Exim Bank, we know that SMEs in the tourism industry need support to keep this vision alive, to strengthen one of our country's strongest assets. Let us help you to build a better future for your business. Ask about our small and medium-sized tourism enterprise loan today. Borrow up to $25 million with interest rates as low as 4.5% and up to 7 years to repay. You can breathe easy. Enjoy your progress and continue contributing to Brand Jamaica. Exim Bank. By helping businesses, we save lives and livelihood.
Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. and midday for your legal corner with Dahlia Walker Huntington during Power Talk on Power 106 FM. You can call our numbers 876-922-4112-5. The text and WhatsApp line is 876-279-8598. You can also send an email at yourlegalcorner106@gmail.com. Join Your Legal Corner for all matters in relation to immigration to the United States. Here, Dahlia offer great legal advice on your immigration queries and concerns. Learn about the filing process, when to file, and how to prepare for the move. That's Your Legal Corner, 11:30 to midday, every Thursday, right here on Power 106 FM.
It's riveting, thought-provoking, and interesting. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Quarry on Mondays and Tuesdays and Sanjay Lewis on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays as they set your agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. It's the Morning Agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. only on Power 106 FM. The following hurricane tip is brought to you by Axia Jamaica Insurance Agency. Check the status of the roof and strengthen where possible by installing storm straps, nail down zinc, replace damaged zinc, and roofing tiles. The preceding hurricane tip was brought to you by Axia Jamaica Insurance Agency.
I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Let us stop for a minute, count our blessings one by one. We should never be disloyal, but stand up and keep strong. My Jamaica is a beautiful life.
Good afternoon to those listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you would have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free. Listening is free whenever, wherever. We thank you if you've dialed one of two designated numbers to listen to the both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. From the United States, your number is 631-359-8281. 631-359-8281. And if you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330-606-0953. 0330-606-0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook and the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you'll be able to not just hear but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you don't have a Facebook account, there's always YouTube. Go to the YouTube website. If you do go there now, you should see this video trending. If it's not, then in the YouTube search box, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to watch both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Thanks for those who have logged on to the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Subscribers to onespotmedia.com also have access to both sides of the story in particular and Power 106 FM in general. What's on your mind this afternoon? The lines are open as usual, 876-922-4112. 876-922-4111, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, but your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, and you can call us via WhatsApp, as well as dial direct 876-365-3346. to speak with us live on radio on this side of the glass, as we like to say. There are your options. We look forward to hearing from you. We started out this afternoon with the poetry of Poet Laureate, the great Claude McKay, I Shall Return, nostalgic piece, and paired that with this iconic recording of Eric Donaldson, Land of My Birth. Looking forward to your full participation. Let's greet those who have joined us. Nicholas Williams, thank you so much for continuing to drum up support for the Dervan Malcolm YouTube channel. We encourage our viewers to like the YouTube channel, to subscribe to the Dervan Malcolm YouTube channel, and also to freely post their comments. And we thank you, Nicholas Williams, for playing your part in that regard. He says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm, and to my loyal classmates, welcome. Happy Thursday. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are one family. Thank you very much, Nicholas, for your comments. This is the land of my birth, indeed. Good afternoon and welcome to Jacqueline Simmons, Ranny Bell in St. Thomas. Blessings to you too. Davia Krishona Briscoe Christian. Pleasant afternoon to you too. Sham White, thank you for joining us. Nowhere is better than Jamaica, she says, with almost 2 rows of the Jamaican flag posted. Davia Krishona Briscoe Christian says, Fred moving dread, in reference to what was Tropical Storm Fred, now Tropical Depression Fred. Violet White, good afternoon and blessings to you too. And indeed, we accept your blessings and greetings on behalf of the listeners. Faye Weller, good afternoon. Welcome. Alistair Preog says, you will have to teach me French. Vraiment? Peut-être. Really? Perhaps. That's what I just said. Chanel Stewart, good afternoon to you. Jennifer Stewart from Q Road in Kencott, East Central St. Andrew. Good afternoon. Audrey Smith in Southampton, England says, good afternoon, Dervan and listeners. Happy Thursday to all listening from Southampton. Take care, everyone, and stay safe. You too. Calvin Roberts is in North York, Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Calvin Roberts. Norman Hines is in St. Thomas. Good afternoon, Norman Hines. Deandra Brown, welcome. Good afternoon. And to Hortense Edwards, it's good to have you on board as well. Thank you for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And good afternoon to Richie Innocent. Thank you very much for tuning in, and all the very best. Tony Kelly in London, good to have you on board. Welcome. Richie Innocent is in New York. Hope you and your wife are well. Cuban in Georgia is posting beach photos, but that beach, well, more power to you for being able to spend some time on the beach. But to those of us who are familiar with beaches in Jamaica, that's a rather unattractive beach you are lounging on right now, Cuban in Georgia. But so it is. So it is. That's what makes the world a beautiful place, isn't it? Yes. Thank you very much for your message. Let's see. What's this now? Let's go to this one. Good afternoon to Leo Gilling in Florida. Angelia Christian in London. Thank you very much for keeping in touch. We haven't forgotten you, Angel. Thank you very much. Alfonso Tolla, hello to you. Missionary Doris. Guardian Angel, welcome. And Franklin McDonald has shared the story of Dottie Bookman, Dutty-Boukman. You can Google that name and see what you get. Here's a message from yesterday. Good day, Dervan. Could you please find out how I can get in contact with JUTC management? The number listed for all locations is not working. I see only one number for all locations, which is 876-749-3192-9. I was just downtown waiting on a bus, which is number 8. I was verbally abused by the driver. I wrote down the bus number and I have my ticket. Dervan, it left me so traumatized. Some of the employees of JUTC have no conduct. It seems that they did not get any form of training. I need to report this individual because being a citizen of Jamaica, we should all demand good behavior and respect. These people are representing the country and have no behavior. I'm so disappointed. We're terribly sorry to hear of your experience, Arlene. Assuming this is Arlene, that's the name we have here in our system. We're terribly sorry to hear that. In fact, we're going to forward your message right now to Cecil Toms, who is in charge of communications. It's not on this phone. Let me send it on the other. Send it to the other phone. Yes, we'll do that right now. Sending your message to Cecil Toms of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company. Let's see, what are we not doing here? Let's do this. Forward. And this one. There we go. So Cecil Toms, if you're listening, we're sending this message from a commuter who felt she was poorly treated by a member of the staff of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC. So we just sent you the information, Cecil Toms. Let's now send you the contact number. The contact number. And again, let's take the break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. Did you know that the National Irrigation Commission Limited is the sole authority for irrigation systems in Jamaica? The National Irrigation Commission Limited enables the improvement in agricultural productivity through the provision of efficient and affordable irrigation to farmers and other customers. Contact them 977-6624 or 977-6727 or visit their website www.nicjamaica.com to learn more. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Hey, you see these days, it's good to get straight to the point. Quick and easy. That's why Western Union gives you another way to receive money straight to your bank account with Western Union's direct-to-bank money transfer. Visit a Western Union agent location and sign up now and tell your family and friends to send your next Western Union money transfer directly to your bank account in Jamaica. It's easy. Visit a Western Union location or call our call center at 876-926-2454. Sign up today to receive a money transfer directly to your bank account with ease. With Western Union, moving money for better.
It's young, it's fresh, it's worldviews from a youth perspective. It's Gen Z, navigating the ups and downs of everyday life. Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Power 106 FM.
Leave your land and come. Carry here for a while and have a bed in the warm sun. We will share a lot with you. Our people, they are true. They will want to be with you. They will love, they will help, they will give. If you wish, my friend, you can live. You will be a happier one in the land of the rising sun. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. I said, this is...
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming Live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Pearl Brown, Miss Pearl, says, wow, this story not finished, but it brings me to tears. Blessed love, Sir Dervan. We have work to do, and believe me, I am part of it by God's help. And that's in reference to a segment of yesterday's program. We really don't like when we miss your messages, listeners. Sorry about that, but we're trying our best to catch up with the messages from yesterday. We're trying to clear those now. Wayne yesterday said, okay, I don't have documentary proof, but one of my sons has neurological problems. This was diagnosed by the doctor who was treating him. When I asked what could cause this, he said the vaccine after birth can cause neurological problems in children. Okay, maybe that expert was lying. So I did my research, and that was so. What you could do is ask any doctor. You sometimes come off as not being genuine, even when you speak like that. If someone tells you don't go around the corner to your house, there is danger coming, are you going to ask for proof or wait for an expert to tell you? Well, that person could be sending you into a trap as well, Wayne. We have to be discerning. We have to be skeptical and cynical if we need to, because of the world we live in. So we can't take anything for granted. We'd like to think everybody in the world is an angel, but you and I know that that is not so. Hope you're listening, Wayne. The message goes on. Sometimes you can believe or try to understand when the not so expert person speaks. And the rest that no one is listening to and making fun of, they should do the same. They should do the same to Marcus, because he was saying the same things. Maybe what you could do is tell some of your listeners some history of Black people before slavery, go far back, and maybe they will appreciate the arguments. All of that and more have been done, Wayne, and people are still bleaching, among other things, and killing each other. Here's a message. Mr. Malcolm, can you shout out to the powers that be that the people in part of eastern Portland are suffering with salt water on their pipes? Is districts such as Boston, Ferry Hill, Sherwood Forest, Drapers, Richmond from this is from Richard from Portland. Richard from Portland, sorry to hear of your situation. Have you reported the matter to who is in charge of the water in your area? Is it the Portland Municipal Corporation or the National Water Commission? It seems one of the two should be able to come to your aid. This one says, good day, Dervan. How are you doing? I do enjoy listening to your show each day. My question to you is Jamaica a civilized country? Yes, it is. Here's why I asked. I landed in Jamaica recently. After leaving Norman Manley Airport, I was pleased to see Palisadoes Road, but on a close look into the sea, there was a lot of garbage. When I reached the Harborview roundabout, heading towards downtown Kingston, there were a lot of potholes. If you drive straight on that road, one would think that you are drunk because of the massive craters. On your way to downtown Kingston, one would think they're driving through the entrance into a dump. Then there's the bad driving. Some of the drivers on the road seem as if they are a law unto themselves. I've seen several taxi drivers moving from one side of the road to another, causing others to swing or step on their brakes. What's worse is to see the taxi stands where several men trying to pull one lady into several different taxis. I think the majority of Jamaicans are law-abiding citizens, but we allow a minority to represent us all. I therefore have to ask you, driving around, do you think Jamaica is a civilized country. Indeed, we are. Sadly, though, we have too many instances of behavior that is less than civil permeating our society. Not sure if that suffices, but that's the response for you. Hope you weren't too traumatized by all you saw and experienced while in Jamaica. Solji in Massachusetts says, greetings, Sir D and fellow listeners. Shout out to my lovely Empress as we listen in. Hello to Solji and his lovely Empress. Another one. Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. You can find out if the vaccine going be at the Oberlin High School until Sunday. I don't know. I did hear, what's the center? There's somewhere an announcement was made on the radio in an interview. I think it was Dr. Melody Ennis, indicating, I'm trying to remember the name of the location in West Rural St. Andrew where vaccinations are scheduled to take place and perhaps have been taking place. I'm not remembering now. I was listening to the radio in passing and didn't absorb that bit of information. But if you were to check with the nearest clinic in West Rural St. Andrew, the nearest clinic or health center, you should be able to get that information or call the Ministry of Health's number, their toll-free number, 888-1-LOVE, 888-1-LOVE, and they should be able to tell you. In fact, let's see if we can bring up the ministry's website online and identify whether there is in fact a list of the areas where vaccination is taking place right now. Not seeing anything like that. We're only seeing the clinical management summary. We're going down the line here to see if there was any published information on the Health Ministry's website with respect to the locations. Let me see here. No. Yeah, that would prove to be quite useful, because here we have someone inquiring as to whether the vaccination team will be at Oberlin in West Rural St. Andrew, Oberlin High School. And if not, where will they be? I'm just trying to find a link on the website that could lead us there. No. Public education, competitions, no. I'm afraid we're not seeing any information pertinent to the vaccination locations right now, at least not on the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website. Not sure if anybody from the ministry listens to this program, but if there's anyone listening, it would be good to get a listing. We would have no problems going through the list with our listeners here, a listing of the identified locations, the confirmed locations for COVID-19 inoculation. For people, obviously, one wouldn't be asking if one didn't have an interest in taking the vaccine. And this is where we're falling down, because if people are out there wanting to get the vaccine and not knowing, yes, there's the 888 number as we have directed the person to, 888-1-LOVE, to get the information. But imagine if going to the Ministry of Health's website, I was able to get that information right away, then I'd be able to go a step further by sharing all the other locations across the country where vaccinations are being taken are taking place or will be taking place. We're not seeing that. Health Ministry, over to you. In the meantime, those who need the information, try 888-1-LOVE. 888-1-LOVE. More messages. Shaniel G. Stewart says, my first time here. Welcome, Shaniel G. Stewart. Adeline Murray says, good afternoon, Dervan. Long time no hear your voice. It's always been a pleasure listening to you. I feel like I'm in Jamaica. Adeline from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Adeline. All the best. Cherry Henry says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan. Do you remember that man who called you on the 16th of February and said in August the virus will be gone or would be gone? Yes, I recall. Yeah, well, he obviously is nowhere to be found right now, at least to say he got it wrong. Beverly Bailey says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan Malcolm. Good afternoon, Beverly Bailey. And good afternoon to everyone on your behalf. Ricardo is shouting out everyone as usual. And Sophia Nemad says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sophia Nemad. Thank you very much for your message and for joining us here on both sides of the story. Norman Hines says, big up yourself, Uncle Dervan. Big up to you too. Thank you very much. And all the very best. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, let's go straight to the very latest. Well, we have given you an update, or if you, assuming you were listening at the start of the program, we gave you an update on the weather situation in the region, and we're going to give you some more updates in just a moment.
This is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is...
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
It's riveting, thought-provoking, and interesting. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Quarry on Mondays and Tuesdays and Sanjay Lewis on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays as they set your agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. only on Power 106 FM.
Land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Let us stop for a minute on our blessings one by one. We should never be disloyal, but stand up and keep strong. My Jamaica is a beautiful island. She is the pearl of the Caribbean Sea. And our people, they are free, no oppression.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Let's see what the Gleaner Online is reporting at this time. Nigerian minister says Twitter ban to be lifted soon. Nigeria plans to soon lift its ban on Twitter, the country's information minister said to Wednesday, 2 months after authorities blocked the social network when a tweet by the president was deleted. There's also the health ministry's daily report on COVID-19. The COVID-19 summary, 375 new COVID-19 cases yesterday. 375 new COVID-19 cases recorded yesterday, bringing the overall total to 56,165. 56,165 confirmed cases of COVID-19, 31,499 females, 24,663 males. And of the 375 confirmed cases yesterday, 218 females, 157 males. Age range, 46 days to 98 years. The parishes with the highest numbers within the last 24 hours, the corporate area comprised of Kingston and St. Andrew, 181 confirmed cases, newly confirmed cases of COVID-19. Next in line, St. Catherine with 75, followed by St. Anne with 43. Let's go down the line. In terms of the number of tests yesterday, 1,081 tests, COVID-19 tests were done yesterday. In terms of the total number of COVID-19 tests since testing began in Jamaica, 345,486. The positivity rate is 31.7%. Sadly, 14 more deaths were recorded yesterday, bringing the total to 1,268. That's a total number of people who have died from COVID-19 in Jamaica, 1,268. For what it's worth, 32 more people recovered yesterday, for a total of 47,365 recoveries. There are still 7,165 active cases of COVID-19 in Jamaica. There's a worrying number here, and that's the number of people admitted to hospital on account of COVID-19. 350 people admitted to hospital on account of COVID-19. 79 of those patients are moderately ill. 35 are in critical condition. We hope for the best as we condole with those who have lost loved ones, friends, colleagues, neighbors. We hope and pray, and no doubt the doctors and nurses are working to save as many lives as possible. Let's come back to more of those trending stories in a moment. But you know we don't like to keep you waiting, so let's go to the phone lines. 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon, Brother Ormsby. How are you?
I'm giving thanks for another day, my dear sir. And how are you?
I am doing the same.
Amen. I always like to congratulate you on the tremendous job that you are doing in this country. You know, cannot be better as a veteran broadcaster. However, I call you to speak to you on a national matter. I am from West Portland. As you can hear about them as Spring Hill in Portland. I left Portland from I was teenage. In those days, for medical, they used to have a clinic in the area whereby one day per week, a doctor from Buff Bay came up and treated patients. Number of folks live in different areas come to that clinic. However, and the hospital was in Buff Bay. However, it went on that from here many years now, the government of the day, which I would not want to call the P name, kind of speaking politics. I'm a concerned person. I'm not living in Portland, but I'm from there. So I left there from I was teenage. However, and so as I go along, sir, the government of at that time of the day has closed down the hospital in Buff Bay and removed it to another bay, which from Spring Hill to Buff Bay is 10 miles. And from Buff Bay to another bay is 10 miles, that's 20 miles. And different areas of around the territory there. Wakefield, Cascade, some of them go to for how much 30 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles. However, from where I was, from Spring Hill to Buff Bay was 10 miles. And the hospital was operating. As I said, the government of the day has closed down Buff Bay Hospital and removed it to another bay for economical adjustment. But my dear sir, the people, then eventually the clinic in Spring Hill has been closed down completely. No doctor come there anymore. The people around that area, from Cascade, Spring Hill, Rose Hill, and the list goes on, have to go at least 30, 20 miles to another bay for treatment. The hospital in Buff Bay has closed down. They use it as a clinic now. But the treatment you supposed to get at the hospital not being served at the clinic. So I'm very concerned. I'm not living in Portland as I lived from I was in my teens. But I'm concerned because I'm poor old people, so I cannot manage. They're having a hard time. So I'm speaking, use your media here to speak of the relevant authority in the Ministry of Health. We'll look into the situation. I don't know who is the MP for West Portland now, but I trust that my voice has been heard and consideration has been given to the people in West Portland that the Buff Bay Hospital could be restored. Hello?
Yes, the Member of Parliament for West Portland is Darrell Vaz.
Okay.
I'm wondering if the people of the area felt hard done by enough for them to have made representation to the ministries. That would be the Regional Health Authority.
Yes.
I think that would be NERA, the Northeast Regional Health Authority. Did they make representation to NERA?
Yes.
Or the councillor or the member of parliament?
Yes.
Because it seems to me, since the people of the area have the raw meat, they really should be the ones seeking fire for that raw meat.
Yes.
But if they just sat there and accepted it.
Sometimes, Mr. Malcolm, some people don't have the, what should I say now, the insight or the vision, But I am really concerned about the situation because I was told, for instance, you should go to Buff Bay at the hospital. I said the government today, I won't call the P name because I'm not in politics. I'm concerned. Has closed down the hospital for economical adjustment and remove it to another bay. So the poor people who drive all 40 miles to another bay to get attention. So I'm very concerned. I trust that the relevant authority, the representation, the MP, for that matter, the Honorable Dervan, will look into this situation and see the hospital in Buff Bay can be restored because they are suffering.
Yeah, well, you are, as far as we're aware up to now, unless we missed it in the news or in the papers, but yours seem to be the lone voice in the wilderness. Speaking about that situation. As I said earlier on, we would expect that if the people in the area felt strongly about that situation, they would have expressed themselves. I'm just wondering why they didn't, unless they found a viable alternative.
Well, I trust that the people in the area, from Cascade, Spring Hill, Rose Hill, and the list goes on, would join the lonely voice in the wilderness and make it a wider voice. I trust that. I trust that in my voice. And would join and take up this channel and to meet the minister or the MP and bring the situation to his attention. And so it can move from there. Okay?
We hope so.
So, Mr. Malcolm, I'm grateful first, sir, for your listenership and the work you're doing. And I pray that I might be hearing something further on to this matter.
Well,
thank you so much.
Let's see if we get the opportunity to encounter or engage the relevant authorities. We'll put it to them.
Please, sir, on your program, let your voice be heard that somebody is calling too about the situation. I will appreciate it.
We'll do our best.
God bless. Thank you.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Blessed Honorable, what's going on now?
I am listening and watching you move from station to station.
So we stay, man. You understand? I'm a waking African that shall not go back to sleep nor slumber until the redemption of Africa.
What's the topic? What's the topic today? Let's just get straight to it, please.
Right. The question now, this celebration.
Which celebration?
Mary Marcus Garvey birthday in Namibia, where Mary talk about.
Yes.
Spinal cord.
Yes.
African unity. Give me some update on that.
Yeah, well,
that's what we're talking about. Can I check so you continue on it today like we didn't have enough time yesterday?
Yeah, well, that's a matter of programming. We do plan to speak with both individuals again on the Saturday morning program. But in terms of the actual event, hold the line a moment, please.
Okay.
I will never leave her shores. I will never run away.
The Time by Medical Disposables and Supplies Limited, an official distributor of 3M Healthcare Solutions, 83 Hagley Park Road, Kingston 10, is 3 p.m.
Sipa Copper.
Sipa Copper?
Yes, Sipa Copper.
Sipa Copper what?
Sipa Copper Ital Jamaican Moringa tea bags.
Sipa Copper Moringa, turmeric, vervine, neem, and guinea hen wheat tea bags today. Sipa Copper tea is available in supermarkets island-wide. So Sipa Copper today. You'll be happy you did.
Distributed by Caramed Group Limited.
Let us stop for a minute, count our blessings one by one. We should never be disloyal, but stand up and keep strong. My Jamaica is a beautiful island. She is the pearl of the Caribbean Sea. And our people, they are free, no oppression here to see. The prettiest woman there be. On the hills and the plains and the rivers and the valleys, always beckon to me. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Miss a tourist, leave your land and come. Tarry here for a while and have a bed in the warm sun. We will share a lot with you. Our people, they are true. They will want to be with you. They will love, they will help, they will give. If you wish, my friend, you can live. You will be a happier one in the land of the rising sun. I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth.
I'm afraid we'll have to apologize to the caller. We have a couple of scheduled interviews starting right now. Sorry about that. If you are able to, please call us back. Wouldn't want you to be holding for too long. Sorry about that. We have a couple of scheduled interviews and we're trying to make contact right now to our guest. But if the caller is still listening, the event you asked about with respect to Marcus Garvey will be from the 17th to the 20th of August. So we still have a little time to keep you abreast of the information there. August 17 to 20, 11:30 a.m. Jamaica time, 6:30 p.m. Namibia time. And it will be on PBC Jamaica, Facebook, via the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission's, JCDC's website, the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport website, as well, or Facebook page, and so on. So we'll give you more information on that. In the meantime, we are making the connections with our guests, waiting in the wings. While we wait, let's clear some more messages here on your program, both sides of the story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Inez Campbell Brown in Bridgeport, Connecticut says, good afternoon, everyone. Such a super hot day today, 93 degrees, but feels like 103 degrees, according to the weather forecast. Stay cool, Inez Campbell Brown in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Oliver Masters says, that poster, who wrote those comments of the island being a civilized country is a mischief maker. None of what was said is true. I do make my annual visits yearly and have never seen any of those vicious lies. Just imagine other people listening now to this. Sad. In addition, the RAS does need to take control of himself, for not all ones accept our teachings being forced down on them. And that is in reference to the caller whose call ended abruptly as we stand by. All right, so we have two sets of matters that we're going to deal with now, and we're going to bring up the next guests, since we seem to be having a difficulty connecting with our first guest. I think we're going to have to move along to our next guest. In the meantime, more messages. Golden Brown says, Wagwan teacher, stay blessed. Same to you, Golden Brown. Claudia Perry says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. It's hottest in Connecticut. Stay cool, Claudia Perry. Michelle Foster Williams says, good afternoon, Dervan Malcolm. Greetings from the Pacific Northwest. Triple-digit temperature here for the next 3 days. Ouch. Oh, dear. Sorry to hear that, Michelle Foster Williams. Stay cool. Please do your best to stay cool. That heat sounds really oppressive. Also messaging us, Michelle Foster Williams once again says, greetings to the audience. Just popped in to say hello. Busy working. Respect. Working is good, Michelle Foster Williams. You don't need to apologize for that. Maureen Oliver Kopp says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan Malcolm and your listening audience. Blessed love for a wonderful day checking in from New York. Thank you very much, Maureen Oliver Cuff from New York, for your message. Nicola in Mandeville, Manchester is tuned in as usual. Thank you very much for joining us. And right, so no luck with Dennis Onak, the head of physics, head of the science at Denstone College, an author. We were scheduled to speak with him about his book. Not having any luck in that regard. After all, I believe he's actually in Jamaica on vacation, and the arrangement was made with that in mind, knowing that he would have been here on vacation. But he did agree to do the interview. But you know how it is when you're on vacation. You forget that you have anything else to do because you're on vacation. So no sweat. Continue to enjoy your time here in Jamaica, Dennis Onak. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to, in the meantime, get ready for our next scheduled interview. Marcia Erskine, in just a moment. Today is International Youth Day, and Marcia Erskine has helped us to coordinate a couple of interviews with young people who are looking to continue the legacy of a stalwart, but putting their own stamp on a new academy, can we say, an academy for the arts, and they are anxious to share their plans and their activities so far. So we're getting ready to hear from them. Those who listen to this program would know that we have more than just a passing interest in the arts, because that's how we ended up in radio. We used to represent Calabar High School in the performing arts, speech, drama, music, dance. Yes, dance. I have the pictures to show, and there's a video as well. Yes, all of those, the arts, because while we have the highest regard for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, we always like to make the point that without the arts, STEM has no steam. Without the arts, STEM has no steam. And that is not to take away from STEM. We're just saying that that creative side, yes, we respect the science and the scientists and the engineers, etc., etc. But we also recognize the impact of creatives on any field that we can come up with. And that's why we insist that the arts must be a part of STEM. And then we can go full steam ahead with whatever programs there are to go full steam ahead with. Right, let's keep the program flowing right here on both sides of the story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. So here is a bit of the history, and we're going back to last year. Last year, this time, the Gleaners headline was September 3 Green Light. Wholeness seeks second mandate. That was the lead story in the Gleaner. Last year, this time, September 3, green light. Wholeness seeks second mandate in 23-day election sprint. Nomination day, August 18. There was also a picture of St. Andrew Southeastern Member of Parliament Julian Robinson playfully clenching his fist, the iconic symbol of the People's National Party, while bantering with his Jamaica Labour Party counterparts, showing the V sign in Gordon House on Tuesday. Jamaica will head to the polls on September 3. That was the news. That was the news last year, this time. A year before that, taken by terror, friends mourn Jamaican among UN personnel killed in Libyan bomb blast. That one was really, really tragic. And also in the news last year, this time, lack of legislation delays Broadcasting Commission's social media plans. The years 2016, 2015, and 2014 are unavailable on the Gleaner archives. Maybe those have been taken out for some reason or another. Those are unavailable. 2013, crown him again. Bolt reclaims world champs title despite sore legs. And that was at the World Athletics Championships in Moscow, Russia. The Gleaner reported on this day in 2012 that freshly minted 100-meter world champion Usain Bolt was delighted to have regained the title he lost 2 years earlier, but admitted disappointment at not testing his own 9.58 second world record in the 100 final at the IWF World Championships in the Luzhniki Stadium the previous day. And one more reminder, 2011, on this day in 2011, the Gleaner reported that convicted Olint Ponzi scheme operator David Smith said sorry in the United States District Court in Orlando while he awaited sentencing.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
Welcome to the new dimension in eye care, the Optical Zone, offering exceptionally comfortable eyewear. We fill prescriptions and do eye examinations. This complete optical store is conveniently located at Shop 14, York Plaza, Halfway Tree. Telephone 929-8656. The Optical Zone, providing vision for life.
One in. A hurricane we name. Are we rough? Whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane, we want you know that. We come here for mash up building, blow down things and take life. Flood out place. We no ramp. We no respect no one. So no take no chance with we. Listen to Adprem and prepare.
Hurricanes do happen, so be prepared. Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. It's riveting, thought-provoking, and interesting. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Quarry on Mondays and Tuesdays and Sanjay Lewis on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays as they set your agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. only on Power 106 FM.
Jamaica, the land of my birth. Miss a tourist, leave your land and come. Tarry here for a while and never bathe in the warm sun. We will share a lot with you. A people, they are true. They will want to be with you. They will love, they will help, they will give. If you wish, my friend, you can live. You will be a happier one in the land of the rising sun. I say this is the land of my birth. I say this is the land of my birth. I say this is Jamaica.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Apologies to our guests waiting in the wings. Just dealing with some technicalities, but we're good to go now. We are delighted to have joining us on today's edition of Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, the Executive Director of CDT Arts Limited, Mr. Colin Blackwood. Good afternoon. Thanks for your patience. How are you?
Good afternoon, Dervan. Great to be here.
Good to have you online. Thank you very much. Also, Lloyd Boyd.
Hello.
How are you? Welcome.
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. We hear you're visiting dancer from Alvin Haley, USA.
Yes, Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. Yes.
Yes, indeed. And one of the tutors at CODA.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get some background first of all. Colin Blackwood, you're the Executive Director of CDT Arts Limited. Can you share with us how this institution came into being?
Sure. Well, CDT Arts is a dance school and dance company. It is headed by Sade Bully, Renee McDonald, Stephen Cornwall, and myself as directors. We were all trained by Tony Wilson, who many persons should know the name, has given himself and his life to dance for over 30 years in Jamaica. Mr. Wilson studied at the Alvin Ailey School in New York, where he studied modern dance, the Horton technique, the Graham technique, and came back to Jamaica over 30 years ago and has been teaching dance to children and adults for many, many years. So we were a part of his company. Unfortunately, Mr. Wilson took ill about 2 years ago. He suffered from a stroke, so he's no longer in the studio. But we want to ensure that his legacy continues and his values and his teachings will go on for a long time. So we came together and created this group called CDT, and it is our intention to have classes and performances and to ensure that his legacy will continue.
That's very, very visionary of you. Who else is involved? What's the extent to which you've been able to get others to buy into the vision of CDT Arts?
Well, the Tony Wilson family is very large. He has taught hundreds, thousands actually of dancers who've passed through his hands over the years, and they're all over the world. So thanks to social media, the support is very, very strong. He's the founding members of his company, the past directors, past dancers have all come together, and everyone is definitely buying and sharing the vision with us.
All right, hold it there as we find out from Lloyd Boyd. Is it Lloyd Boyd the third?
Yes.
Yes, mm-hmm. I figured, but I wasn't sure. Lloyd Boyd the third, visiting dancer from Alvin Ailey in the USA, and one of the tutors at CODA. What is CODA?
Go ahead, Lloyd. Sorry.
Hello?
Yes, sorry. Go ahead, Colin. Okay, so CODA is a 3-week summer intensive program that we're having at the dance studio located at the Little Theater, which is at 4 Tom Redcombe. It started this week and it's going to run for 3 weeks. We have classes for children 8 years and up, 8 to 14 in the morning from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lloyd Boyd, who's on air today, he's our featured guest teacher from New York. He'll be teaching modern. But we also have Keenan Fletcher teaching ballet and Stephen Cornwall teaching Afro dance hall to the kids. And that's from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day this week, next week, and the week after. It's running for 3 weeks.
Right. We're going to come back to that program of activities in just a moment. But Lloyd Boyd III, can you give us a sense of how and of why you decided to say yes to Colin Blackwood of CDT Arts Limited to be a part of this program for young people?
Yes, I chose to come to Jamaica and teach because one, I love Jamaica, and two, just to give back. I believe in just giving back to the community and giving back to young dancers and feeding young dancers and just prepping them for any and everything.
And how much of the Jamaican dance culture experience and documentation are you familiar with?
Not too familiar, but enough.
And how do you hope to impact the impressionable young people who you'll be interacting with shortly, and in fact have started?
I hope to impact them by just leaving a good impression. So far, we've had a good turnout in class. The classes have been packed. And from what we've heard, the feedback has been really good.
And are these, let's bring you back in here, Colin Blackwood. Are these professionals or amateurs you're working with in this summer program?
Well, the summer program is for all ages and for all levels of experience. That tends to be the theme of summer programs all over the world, dance programs. You know, we kind of get rid of the levels. It's an opportunity for everyone to be introduced to dance if they've never danced before, as well as for those who are well versed in the profession to be challenged. So it's a mixture of both.
But we have no doubt there are also prospects. Hey, if there are youngsters who appear to be the perfect fit, then they will know where to turn for that kind of company, right?
Exactly. A lot of scouting takes place over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of hidden talent, new talent, and solid talent in the space.
Is there a cost associated with participation in the program?
Well, yes. For the juniors, for the children 8 to 14 years old, it's $10,000 per week. That's $2,000 a day for 3 classes a day. Really great price.
Yes.
For the advanced level class, which starts at 5:30 p.m. in the evening, that's for persons ages 14 years and up. Those classes run at $1,500 per class.
Mm-hmm. Now there
one class per day.
I see. And so give us the schedule once again so that parents and guardians and the youngsters themselves listening who'd like to be actively engaged for the next few weeks of summer.
Yes. So we have in the morning for the youngsters ages 8 to 14, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Little Theater. And in the evening, same location, 4 Tamarind Road at Little Theater. It is 5:30 p.m. start time to 6:30 p.m.
And what can you tell us about your COVID-19 consciousness in carrying out these sessions?
We definitely have protocols in place. We all know it's been drilled into us. Sanitize, social distancing. We are also doing temperature checks. So dancers are well spaced in the studio. Your temperature check is done upon entry, and you are sanitized. You have to sanitize before entering the studio.
Hold it right there as we bring Lloyd Amir Boyd III back into the discussion. There was a time when people used to snub dance as just something you do for fun.
Mm-hmm.
But can you give us a sense of what dance means to you and the extent to which you've been able to forge a career in dance?
Yeah, dance is my life. Dance was something that I will say I started out as a hobby, but as I got older, I started to notice, I'm actually getting really good at this. And then, I'm actually starting to make a lot of money off of it. So it became a hobby, and it became my career. Now it's actually my life.
Yes. In fact,
and from then on, I was able to perform for the president. to dance behind a couple artists, and also to the opportunity to dance with Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater currently.
Sounds like things are swinging. How has COVID-19 impacted your work?
Well, since the start of COVID, I was on a break for about, I would say, 18 months until July when I just started dancing for Alvin Ailey. But in the midst of that, I was still taking classes, still stretching, still making sure my mind and my body were in the right place. So when everything did come back, I was ready.
And so what is your itinerary looking like?
For this week?
Yeah, and just generally going forward, any bookings in place yet?
Oh, yes. So when I leave here, I head back to New York and I finish rehearsals with Alvin Ailey.
Nice. Very good. All right. So as we wrap, then, gentlemen, let's get an idea from you now of the and this is for Colin, of the ways in which people can connect and learn more about CDT. Are you online? Do you have a website? Is there a Facebook page, Instagram? Tell us.
Oh yes. You can contact us on our Instagram page. Our Instagram handle is @CDT Jamaica. Once you click on that, you'll see a link there where you can sign up for our classes. You get information on our upcoming performances and shows. There's also the videos of the running classes that we're airing right on our social media if you want a glimpse of what's taking place. So yes, that's how. And also, I would love to take the opportunity, if you don't mind, Dervan, to thank our sponsors.
Oh, by all means, yes, please.
Yes, Mayberry Investments Limited and Foundation. They were very instrumental in making this possible, along with the Arts Foundation of the Edna Manley College, also the American International School of Kingston, Masalon Roofing, Masalon Homes. They all made this possible for us. So it was to bring Lloyd here to come and share all of what he has with our children in Jamaica.
This is exciting, and we're happy for you. Colin Blackwood, Executive Director, CDT Arts Limited, and Lloyd Boyd Amir III, visiting dancer from Alvin Ailey in the USA, one of the tutors for the summer program of CDT Arts. Thank you, gentlemen. All the success. We wish you all the success that life has to offer. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Anytime. Take care.
This is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth.
You contribute directly to Jamaica's national development when you pay your customs duties. Let's all do our part in keeping the wheels of our economy turning. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30.
It's riveting, thought-provoking, and interesting. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Quarry on Mondays and Tuesdays and Sanjay Lewis on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays as they set your agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays, 7:15 to 9 a.m. only on Power 106 FM.
The land of my birth. Let us stop for a minute on our blessings.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls now. Yes, thank you for your patience. Those who wanted to speak with us earlier on while we were trying to get our first guest who we weren't able to reach, and then to move into our next segment. So we thank you for your patience and understanding in that regard, and we look forward to your full participation right now. The numbers again, 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can send us your WhatsApp messages, your text messages, your voice notes, and indeed, you can call us directly on that same number, which Raskaba called us on a short while ago, but the phone was covered and I didn't see that it was going, because remember, my phones never ever ring, they vibrate. So 876-922-4112 and the text line, which doubles as the WhatsApp number, and the straight line to us on this side of the glass. Those lines are open to you. Claudette Robinson has joined us. Welcome, Claudette Robinson. All the best to you. Carol in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, says good afternoon from beautiful Calgary. Good afternoon to you, Carol. Good to see you. Good to have you on board. And all the very best to you. Let's go to Raskava, who has been as patient as Job. Raskava, welcome. I have to tell you, though, I'm sorry we didn't catch you at the first opportunity earlier on, because the reception then was much better than what we're hearing now. Yeah, really, like chalk to cheese. That's a little better. Go ahead.
All right. Our most liked, our most hated brethren. Is his name George?
Who's that?
The rest that called
No, I gather
earlier.
I gather his name is Lloyd.
Lloyd, okay. I don't know why I want to call him King George. Lloyd, yeah. What I would ask him, why is he giving all his energy to the Queen and Governor General when one of his sister, locks the police cut off after she's been shouting it with it for 19 years. And he has not said anything about that. If it happened to her, it can happen to him. So I don't know why he's so silent about that.
Well, but maybe you
might be saying a lot.
Maybe you just roused him from his slump.
Did you know that?
I was saying maybe you just roused him from his slumber.
All right. Well, if you had not known, it would have been surprising. This daughter who carried her locks for 19 years, born from a Rasta man and woman union, and she was charged as gone to the police for disorderly conduct because she had defended her right as gone to her when the police pepper sprayed in a car that she was in. She was charged $6,000. She didn't have that to pay, so they brought her to the only woman police station in Clarendon, and she was there. And while she was there and her mother gone to pay, her locks was cut because she went to court with her locks, was escorted by police to the station, and her locks was cut as gone to her. The police said it is endangering her and other inmates, even though Indicom said she was alone in her cell. So you can't say no. We had a very successful protest, which I sent you videos of it, Mr. Malcolm, on the 10th in front of the police station, which some of them themselves who were deemed the good ones, because we always have big up good police. I don't know if their behavior was to send a message that we are the good one, man. So they also full joy. They come out, set up their tripod, set up their cameras, videotape it, and tolerate a lot of violation where distancing and mask wearing was concerned, but they still allow it. Give thanks to that, because this side was for a worthy cause. So I think he need to do something about that. On the 17th of this month, Marcus Garvey's Earth Date. The next leg of it will be in Mandela Park starting at 10 o'clock. So he needs to go there, so show his solidarity if he's an advocate of Rastafarians' rights. Yeah. Some very interesting sharing, which I think, to me, and hope it will be for the listeners.
We have no doubt. Sorry, go ahead.
King Louis the 14th only beat 2 times for his entire life. 2 times. And Queen Isabella also only beat 2 times. The day that she was born and on her wedding day. And yes, I asked that question too. But what she did is to carry a bundle of flowers on her and rub up herself with essential oils and herbs to keep away that P-U-N-G-E-N-T smell. And why they did that, is because Christians said that, no, it was forbidden for people to even get to bathe that time because clean water was very, very scarce. And even those who have access to water didn't bathe because the Christians' preaching was it is forbidden and sinful to bathe naked because it carries a kind of promiscuous sexual message in it. And that caused people to behave in a promiscuous way, sexually. So it was banned for them to even bathe. So I'm saying that no wonder you see some people walk up and down on the street and never bathe. I wonder if they were following this royal couple. It was also dubbed that Queen Victoria got the prize for the cleanest woman of the century. And she also did only bathe 2 times for the year. So that's really, to me, it's very interesting to see a woman going around and only bathe from him born, bathe till him married. And use flowers and essential oils and all them things that to keep away that smell that no woman want to carry around with them. So, England today, I just want to share that with everyone who are listening and yell up all the both sides of the stories, listeners here, dear, and abroad. Thank you for your tolerance and your acceptance of me, and give thanks to the call that I get and say they wait until I call and all those little things. So it really motivates me to even call sometime when I choose was to just listen.
Yes. What's the source of the information about the people who only bathed a couple of times?
Well, you can Google it, Them King is the Queen Isabella, King Louis the 14th.
Louis, I think the S is silent. Mm-hmm.
You can't take with Mrs. Queen English, So what they put money for?
All right, Raskava. Thank you.
Yes. Each time I talk to you, I benefited because I used to just see words as they are, only to know say you can't take it as this is written all the while.
Not at face value, no.
So I do learn a lot from your teacher. Give thanks. So hopefully I can teach you 1 or 2 things culturally too.
By all means, I'm sure you can. All the best.
Yes.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Good afternoon to Winji in Retreat, Brownstown, St. Anne. Good to have you on board. Thank you. Welcome. All the very best to you. And we look forward to your continued listenership and support. Thanks to those who have tuned in since the last time we checked, like Ras Ayuda in England. He says, bless up. Hope you have a blessed day. JMGB. Thank you, Ras Ayuda, for your message. We've been combing through the newspapers of old, as they say. We stopped at, let's look at 2010. The police reported on this day in 2010 that gangster Cedric Doggy Murray was cut down in a daring daylight gun battle during a police operation at the border of Manchester and Clarendon. According to the police, on his body, they found a diary which detailed his admiration for alleged crime boss Christopher Dudus Cook, for whom he fought during the May 24, 2010 incursion into Tivoli Gardens, which left more than 70 people dead. Also in the Gleaner on this day in 2010, news that the drama surrounding the sudden dismissal of the long-serving head of the Students' Loan Bureau, SLB, continued with the resignation of the board of directors, the appointment of an acting executive director, and the changing of locks at the agency's New Kingston offices. Bank of Jamaica executive Monica Brown moved into the SLB the previous morning as the acting executive director and was immediately on the job. Still in 2010, the Gleaner reported on this day in 2010 that despite a court ruling ordering the government to pay members of the Island Special Constabulary Force, ISCF, outstanding wages and fringe benefits, the Finance Minister Audley Shaw made it clear that the government was unable to pay within the fiscal year. The Gleaner quoted Mr. Shaw as saying, "The government's position remains the same. We do not have the money." The Island Special Constabulary Force Association had taken the government to court after the Golding administration said it was unable to pay increases due to public sector workers, as a result of the adverse economic climate. Justice Roy Anderson granted the declaration which the ISCFA was seeking that the heads of agreement entered into with the government on the 3rd of October 2008 for the contract period April 1, 2008 to March 31, 2010 was binding. The ruling was welcomed by other public sector groups which demanded a speedy payment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
Become the hero on the scene by taking the COVID vaccine. Get vaccinated as soon as you get all the facts. Don't listen to the rumors. This vaccine might just make it possible for teachers to sit face to face with schoolers. This vaccine make it safer for everybody, from the young to the elderly. Don't you want to go back to living normally when things were more orderly? And if you want to live a long good life, then we all have to do what's right. So let's get vaccinated along with the heroes on the front line.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
I will never leave her shores.
Let's continue to go through the pages of the Gleaner of yesteryear. 2009. On this day in 2009, the International Association of Athletics Federation, IAAF, was still awaiting information on a ruling that cleared 5 Jamaican athletes of doping, and a decision on their participation in the World Championships was likely to come close to the August 15 opening, we were told. Still in 2009, the Jamaica Amateur Athletic Association, J3As, that's what it was called then, withdrew its request to ban sprint star Asafa Powell and several teammates from the World Championships the previous day, just hours after saying they would be kicked off the team in a dispute over training camp attendance. IAAF Secretary General Pierre Weiss said the world governing body put pressure on the Jamaican Federation to change its mind because the exclusion of the 6 prominent athletes would reflect badly on the championship itself. That's how important Jamaicans are to championships. 2009, still in 2009, on this day in 2009, the People's National Party, PNP, said it would not contest the September 4 by-election in Northwest Clarendon announced by Prime Minister Bruce Golding. The PNP suffered heavy defeats in West Portland and Northeast St. Catherine after the ousted JLP MPs renounced foreign citizenship and returned to face the voters. Michael Stern was eventually re-elected Member of Parliament for Northwest Clarendon. Let's go to 2008. Asafa Powell was complaining on this day in 2008, complaining about, well, he was complaining that the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, was drawing too much blood. In other words, he was being subjected to numerous tests. Asafa Powell, that's 2008. Also in 2008, first-time Olympian Samantha Albert and her 14-year-old mare, Before I Do It, gave Jamaica something to smile about, entering the third and final stage of individual eventing in the equestrian competition at the Beijing Olympics. Samantha Albert was ranked 52nd overall at the end of the dressage, but then improved 10 places to 42nd of the 60 riders remaining in the competition, going into the third and final stage, show jumping, which happened on this day in 2008. Let's go back to 2004. Veteran Olympian Sandy Richards carried the national flag for the second major games in a row when the Athens Olympics opened in the Greek capital on this day in 2004. Richards was competing at her fifth consecutive Olympics. Still in 2004, despite the island being spared a direct hit from Hurricane Charlie, and let's not get it twisted, this Charlie is spelled Charley. The one that happened in 1951 was spelled or is spelled Charlie. So let's not confuse the Charlies. So Jamaica would have been impacted by two Hurricane Charlies, one in 1951 and the other, although not a direct hit, the other in 2004, except that the spelling differentiates the period, so that the 1951 Hurricane Charlie was Charlie. The 2004 Hurricane Charlie is spelled Charley. There you go. So despite the island being spared a direct hit from Hurricane Charlie in 2004, the country's emergency systems were put to work as strong winds and raging waters associated with the inclement weather system caused damage to utilities, homes, roads, and agricultural crops, especially in southern and western parishes. One man was swept away in swirling waters, and dozens of homes were flooded. St. Elizabeth was the parish hardest hit, as several communities were flooded, leaving scores of residents stranded, many on their rooftops. Remember that? That was 2004. Abby wasn't born then, was she? I don't think so. Also in 2003, the Water and Housing Minister Donald Buchanan, remember him? On this day in 2003, the Water and Housing Minister Donald Buchanan confirmed that the positions of about 600 workers at the National Water Commission, NWC, would be made redundant as part of recommendations arising from a management audit conducted by KPMG into the operations of the commission. Still in 2003, head of the Premium Group of Companies, opposition leader Edward Siaga, announced on this day in 2003 that he had placed one of his companies, Premium Investment Limited, into voluntary liquidation to clear debts on Enchanted Gardens, his resort property in Ocho Rios. Faced with consumption tax penalties and interest that amounted to 120 million, the majority of which was a penalty of 30 million of unpaid general consumption tax, GCT, Mr. Siaga said Premium was being wound up because of severe cash flow problems accumulation of debt and tax arrears and had hit one of its subsidiaries, Town and Country Resorts Limited. Looking back at 2001, Jamaica produced a glittering display on the final day of the 8th IAAF World Athletics Championships in Edmonton to win the gold medal in the women's 4x4 meters in a national record 3 minutes 20.65 seconds. The quartet of Sandy Richards, Catherine Scott, Debbie Ann Paris, remember her? Lorraine Graham Fenton, remember her? They celebrated with a lap of honor around the Commonwealth Stadium draped in a large Jamaican flag. 1998, Swiss banks agreed to pay 1.2 billion US dollars as restitution to World War II Holocaust victims. Swiss banks agreed to pay 1.25 billion to settle lawsuits brought by Holocaust survivors and their heirs. The banks had kept millions of dollars deposited by Holocaust victims before and during World War II. And some of those who are championing reparation in Jamaica or for Jamaica and the region, this is one of the instances they cite as for those who looking at the time when the Holocaust took place and when the Swiss banks agreed to pay the 1.25 billion as restitution, people are saying, well, there are those who are arguing that it's no different with slavery, chattel slavery, that the enslavers, the colonialists, the colonial masters of the time, that they accumulated their wealth on the backs of the slaves. And it shouldn't matter that they obviously are no longer alive. For those who wonder, who would they be paying reparations to? So that debate rages on. Let's see where it ends up. It's been going on for quite a while. Brian Century, 152 at Trent Bridge on this day in 1995. Speaking of which, it was raining earlier today. I forgot about that match at Sabina Park. Did you know that there's a cricket match happening? Yes. The first test between the West Indies and Pakistan taking place at Sabina Park. And here's the latest. In session 3 on this day 1, Pakistan 130 for 5 in their first innings. Pakistan 130 for 5. Imran Butt was bowled by Kamar Roach. Abid Ali, bowled by Kamar Roach for 11. Abid Ali was caught off the bowling of wicketkeeper Joshua Da Silva off the bowling, caught by wicketkeeper Joshua Da Silva off the bowling of, was caught by Jason Holder off the bowling of Seals for 17. And for those who haven't followed cricket in a while, this of whom we speak is Jayden Seals, Jayden, Jayden Seals, picking up a couple of wickets here. Babar Azam, the Pakistani captain, who can be quite a belligerent batsman, he was caught by wicketkeeper Joshua Da Silva off the bowling of Kamar Roach for 30. Fawad Alam is unbeaten on 18. Muhammad Rizwan was caught by Roston Chase off the bowling of Jason Holder for 23. And the other batsman at the crease is Fahim Ashraf, who is on 20. Pakistan 135 for 5 in their first innings on this day 1 of the first test against the West Indies, being played without spectators at Sabina Park. So 2 wickets for Jaden Seals, 1 for Kyle Mears. And I beg your pardon, let's do that again. Sorry. 2 wickets for Kamar Roach, 2 for Jaden Seals, and 1 for Jason Holder. And let's see how that goes. There's another big cricket match happening, and that's England versus India. Now, that's always a showstopper. England versus India. Well, for the most part, because every now and then the Indians buckle. But in this case, England won the toss and chose to field, which means they sent India into bat, and India compiled 276 for 3 on day one at the close of play. 276 for 3, having exhausted the 90 overs for the day. 276 for 3. India in their first innings on day one of the first test against England. Let's look at the scorecard. The not-out batsman, KL Rahul. KL Rahul is unbeaten on 127, having faced 248 balls, including 12 fours and a 6. The other not-out batsman is Ajinkya Rahane. Ajinkya Rahane. And in terms of the rest of the scorecard, the other top scorers, Rohit Sharma at the top of the lineup made 83. He was bowled by James Anderson. And Rohit Sharma along with KL Rahul. No. Rohit Sharma along with KL Rahul put on 126 for the first wicket. So a century opening stand. Chetishwar Pujara made 9, caught by Johnny Bairstow, Jimmy Anderson. Virat Kohli, the Indian captain, was eventually dismissed for 42, caught by Joe Root, that's the England captain, Joe Root, off the bowling of Robinson. And that's the update for you, sports-wise.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Riveting, thought-provoking, and interesting. It's FM, weekdays 7:15 to 9 a.m. and Quarry on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Sanjay Lewis on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays as they set your agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. It's the Morning Agenda on Power 106 FM, weekdays 7:15 to 9 a.m. only on Power 106 FM.
¿Qué hora es en espagnol? Son las 4:01. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:01. 现在几点了？4点01分. A minute past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now's a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Let's see. Yeah, having just shared all that cricket with you, here's one bit more. 1991. In 1991, on this day in 1991, for 3 giants of West Indies cricket, was their last day in Test cricket, and it ended in defeat at the Oval. Jeff Dujon finished with 272 dismissals, the record for a West Indies wicketkeeper at that time. I'm not sure if that has been broken, that record. Malcolm Marshall with 376 wickets at only 20.94 each. That's quite economical, isn't it? And Sir Vivian Richards hit 60 to keep his test batting average over 50. But England's win gave them a share of the series. Some more stories that made the news down the years. Let's look at 1990. And by the way, we do have this compendium for every single day of the week. Sometimes, depending on the nature of what's happening on the program, we don't get a chance to share this information. But when the opportunity presents itself, we take full advantage. Thanks to Cecil Toms for his response. Remember the message we read earlier on of the JUTC commuter who told us she was verbally abused by the driver of a JUTC bus. We shared her information with Cecil Toms, and he says, thanks as always for sharing the feedback from members of the public. We do not condone unprofessional behavior and will be reaching out to, and he calls her name, which we won't, did we call earlier on? I don't remember. I think we only called her first name, but he says the JUTC will be reaching out to her to help to identify the driver. Thank you very much, Cecil Toms of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC. Well done. Let's clear some more. There's just so much to share. Rose McIntosh in London, welcome. Please stay safe all. One love, she says. Same to you, Rose McIntosh. Carol says, what's on my mind? Standoff with JCF and Maroons. And, well, go ahead and express yourself in that regard, Carol. And she says, Swiss Bank paid out for Holocaust victims, yet we're still waiting. Hashtag reparation. Thank you very much for your messages, Carol in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Some more of the stories down the years. How about 1990? On this day in 1990, Pernell Charles declared that the government was doing itself no good, talking to the International Monetary Fund as it was taking tests and failing them and coming to the people to make more sacrifice. He urged the government to find more ways to ease the pressure of the people as they now near the breaking point. That was 1990. Also in 1990, fossil hunter Susan Hendrickson discovered 3 huge bones jutting out of a cliff near Faith, South Dakota. They turned out to be part of the largest Tyrannosaurus rex skeleton ever discovered, a 65 million-year-old specimen dubbed Sue after its discoverer. 1987, a new central public health laboratory was to be built and equipped with a grant of $17.1 million from the European Economic Community at premises adjoining the blood bank on Slipen Road. Was that built? I'll have to look the next time I pass the blood bank. 1987, 13-year-old Garfield Grandison of St. Andrew spelled his way to victory, earning the annual Children's Own Spelling Bee title for Arden High School. Is this the same Garfield Grandison who became editor of The Gleaner? The appreciative audience of students cheers at, this looks like epiglottis ersatz gargoyle. Epiglottis ersatz gargoyle. epiglottis ersatz gargoyle. Another one, gendarme, which might have stumped many adults. Spelt, those words, those are 2 examples of the words spelt with ease by the young speller. And gendarme is, I recognize a French word there. And gendarme refers to a paramilitary police officer in France and other French-speaking countries. Gendarme, Gendarme. The end came when Kari Williams of St. James failed to spell the word genre, Genre. Garfield spelled the word correctly and then spelled gonorrhea, Gonorrhea, to become the 1987 Spelling Bee champion. I should call Garfield Grandison and ask if that was really him in 1987. Also in 1987, the leader of the Jamaica Labour Party and Prime Minister was supposed to have stepped down on this day in 1987. He had announced at a retreat on October 12, 1986, that he would step down on this day in 1987. This was the third time he had opted to step down from the helm of the party, doing so before in the early and late 70s. Immediately after his announcement, he left the retreat, and after hours of debate, the Central Executive decided to ask him to stay on. And later in the evening, Mr. Siaga announced that he would be reshuffling the cabinet in a few days. 1985, the Bank of Jamaica announced that Jamaican currency notes were now being printed in a standard size corresponding to the size of the existing $2 note, that is 145 by 68 millimeters. The new standardized notes incorporate the design elements of the existing notes. In addition, except for the $1 note, can you believe it? We had a $1 note. They incorporate, for ease of identification by blind persons, a blind feature done in relief engraved printing specific to each. 1985, we're still in 1985, a top-level Air Jamaica team headed by the Minister of Public Utilities and Transport, the Honorable Pernell Charles, left Jamaica for New York to plead the airline's case before U.S. Customs against a fine of $18,000 imposed after ganja was found on an Air Jamaica plane. In 1983, the sick out of members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force up to the rank of inspector to press demands for higher wages and increased fringe benefits was reported to have spread across the island. The Minister of Labor and the Public Service, J.A.G. Smith, otherwise known as Jag Smith, urged the protesting police personnel to resume normal duties forthwith. And where are we going now? Let's go to 1981. International Business Machines, IBM, unveiled its first PC on this day in 1981. PC meaning personal computer. It was the 5150 personal computer, PC. The IBM PC ran on the Intel 8088 microprocessor at 4.77 megahertz with one or two 160K floppy disks, or floppy disk drives, I should say. Anybody remember floppy disks and floppy disks drives? It had 16 kilobytes of memory, expandable to 256K, 5 8-bit ISA slots, a 65-watt power supply, no built-in clock, no built-in serial or parallel ports, and no built-in video capability. It was available with an optional color monitor. MS-DOS, I remember MS-DOS. I actually learned MS-DOS 1.0 while I was still a student, /1.1. That was issued with the PC. IBM later released its own operating system, PC-DOS. Prices started at $1,565. The IBM PC was a smashing success, and IBM quickly became the #1 microcomputer company, with Apple dropping to #2. That all unfolded in 1981. 1979, D.K. Duncan, Member of Parliament for East Central St. Andrew, gave formal notice that he intended to campaign for the post of General Secretary of the People's National Party when incumbent Ralph Brown demitted office in September. Duncan, who was a previous controversial General Secretary, made it clear He was not coming back because he had changed, gone soft, or got older and matured. The older and more I mature, the older and more I mature, I get. Something to that effect. That's the quotation. He declared, is the more socialist I become. So who can't take it, leave it. So the words there of D.K. Duncan. The older, not coming back because he had changed, gone soft, or got older and matured. The older and more I mature, I get, he declared, is the more socialist I become. So who can't take it, leave it. 1976, Pedro Collins was born. Remember Pedro Collins, the West Indies fast bowler? Yes, he was, we gather he's best remembered for a testicle injury courtesy of a Jason Gillespie delivery. Collins was a keen footballer before he fell into cricket, and the story goes on. So that's Pedro Collins. Let's see. Going through the history down the years, Australia's captain Ian Chappell and his brother Greg became the first pair of brothers to score centuries in the same test innings on this day in 1972. Tennis champion Pete Sampras was born on this day in 1971. He won the Australian Open in 1994, Wimbledon 93, 94, 95, US Open 90, 93, 95. Reverend Charles Dufour and Reverend Kenneth Mokyen were elevated to the priesthood as the Most Reverend Samuel Carter laid his hands on their bowed heads and offered the prayer of consecration at the Holy Trinity Cathedral on North Street in Kingston. The All-Ireland finals of the 11th annual Children's Own Newspaper Spelling Bee ended at the Sheraton Kingston Hotel on this day in 1970. Elizabeth McLaughlin was the winner, giving St. Cecilia Prep School its second hold on the All-Ireland spelling title. Stuart Williams was born on this day in 1969. I beg your pardon. Yes, 1969. He was regarded as a romantic young West Indian stroke player whose cavalier method, step back and strafe everything through the covers, became increasingly stereotyped. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15. It's riveting, thought-provoking, and interesting. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays 7:15 to 9 a.m. Join Jody and Quarry on Mondays and Tuesdays and Sanjay Lewis on Wednesdays and Thursdays, while they alternate on Fridays as they set your agenda and break down the issues and keep you informed on what matters to you most. It's the morning agenda on Power 106 FM. Weekdays 7:15 to 9 a.m. only on Power 106 FM.
Que hora es en español? Son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:16. 现在几点了？4点10分. 16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the morning. In the afternoon. It's morning somewhere, though. I guarantee you that. It's morning whichever country is 12 hours ahead of us right now. It's morning there. Let's see. Here's some more. Let's look at 1965. 2 ministers of government, 2 members of the opposition, and the parliamentary secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs, Senator Hector Winter, will form the mission being sent by the government to discuss with the British government its recent decision to further restrict immigration from Commonwealth countries. And now let's go to, remember a few years ago, some people twice defaced the Ian Fleming International Airport sign a few years ago, maybe because they were ignorant of who that was. But here's the history. Ian Fleming died on this day in 1964. While on holiday in England, he was 56. Ian Fleming was the author of the James Bond, a Secret Service agent spectacular spy novels, whose code name is 007. Ian Lancaster Fleming was born into a well-to-do family in London on May 29, 1908. As an adult, he worked as a foreign correspondent, a stockbroker, and a personal assistant to Britain's Director of Naval Intelligence during World War II, experiences that would all provide fodder for his Bond novels. The first Bond book, Casino Royale, was published in 1953. In all, Ian Fleming wrote 12 novels and 2 short story collections about Agent 007, which together sold more than 18 million copies. Ian Fleming wrote all the James Bond novels at his home in GoldenEye, Orocabessa, St. Mary, Jamaica. Ian Fleming fell in love with Jamaica when he visited in July 1943 for a naval conference. He found it difficult to leave Jamaica, and he told himself that he would return when the war was over, and he did. Ian Fleming bought land in Orocabessa that had once been a donkey racecourse and designed a house he called GoldenEye. It had no hot water, no air conditioning, and no glass windows. But that was exactly how Fleming wanted it, and he spent every winter there and wrote. He once again picked up journalism and wrote for a newspaper, but only on the condition that his winters would be spent as he chose. In 1952, at the age of 44, after his longtime girlfriend, Lady Anne Rothermere, a married woman, became pregnant, Fleming returned to Jamaica and waited for her divorce to become final. The two were later married in Port Maria, Jamaica, with Jamaican neighbor Noel Coward as a witness. Noel Coward was another international celebrity who brought a long line of other celebrities to Orocabessa and elsewhere in St. Mary. Noel Coward was a British-born playwright, songwriter, and actor who first visited Jamaica on a 2-week holiday in 1944. He was 43 years old and already an accomplished playwright with dozens of plays to his credit and an Oscar nomination for Best Writer for the film in which we serve. The film in which we serve, 1942, under his belt. Like Ian Fleming, Noel Coward fell in love with Jamaica. He rented Ian Fleming's GoldenEye in 1948. Noel Coward eventually settled on a slope 10 miles away from GoldenEye, building his Jamaican retreat, Blue Harbor, a 2-story villa. Noel Coward brought a steady string of guests to Jamaica, the likes of Sir Laurence Olivier, Vivienne Lee, David Niven, Katharine Hepburn, Mary Martin, Sir John Gielgud, Claudette Colbert, Alec Guinness, Errol Flynn, whose name lives on in the Port Antonio Marina. Noel Coward eventually built himself a retreat on a hillside 1,000 feet above Blue Harbor. But Noel Coward was not the first to occupy that area. The former governor of Jamaica, Sir Henry Morgan, owned the 1,200-acre Lan Romney estate. The property extended to Port Maria Harbor and included the Cabanta Island. Morgan built a great house there from where he was able to pinpoint any ships that strayed from the main sea route from Cuba. So Henry Morgan's lookout was renamed by Noel Coward, who called it Firefly, in homage to the lightning bugs or piniwales that covered the grounds. After years of entertaining dignitaries such as Queen Elizabeth, Noel Coward was knighted in 1970. He died at his beloved Firefly in 1973 and is buried there, his grave overlooking Blue Harbor. A statue of Noel Coward stands in London's famed Theatre Royal. Noel Coward's Blue Harbor is now a privately owned guest house. His Firefly is now operated as a museum by Island Outpost and maintained in Coward's own inimitable style. So Noel Coward was the witness at Ian Fleming's wedding in Port Maria, St. Mary, Jamaica. It was at GoldenEye that Ian Fleming wrote Casino Royale in 1952, and in it introduced the world to the suave agent 007. Ian Fleming named his characters and places for people and places he knew. James Bond came from the author of the ornithological classic Birds of the West Indies. And M007's boss was a tribute to Fleming's own rocky relationship with his mother. Although he wrote all 13 James Bond novels in Jamaica, only 3, Dr. No, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun, had parts set on the island, specifically in downtown Kingston, Negril, Frome, and Savannah Lamar. The Queen's Club in Dr. No was modeled after Ligony Club, and the Government House after King's House. Jamaican businessman, lawyer, and columnist Morris Cargill was a very good friend of Ian Fleming. In 1961, Fleming, a heavy smoker and heavy drinker, suffered a heart attack, and 3 years later, at 56, had another heart attack on this day in 1964 on his son Caspar's 12th birthday in Canterbury, Kent, England. He was buried in the churchyard of Sevenhampton Village near Swindon. Ian Fleming's will was probated on November 9 of the same year in London, England. Fleming was the author of the James Bond Secret Service Agent Spectacular Spy novels. As we said, he left an estate with a gross value of £302,147 sterling in Britain. In May 2010, thriller author Jeffrey Deaver was chosen to write the next James Bond novel to be published, which was published in May 2011. Now, can you imagine if, as a country, we're able to secure special arrangements with the families of these international celebrities to establish attractions and theme parks, how much more diverse our tourism product would be? Can you imagine a James Bond theme park or simulator which would transpose or transport visitors to some of the most famous scenes from James Bond movies? How about a James Bond themed Ian Fleming International Airport with gadgets and paraphernalia reminiscent of 007's on-screen exploits? Just a thought. Just a thought. So that's the long history we shared with you just now with respect to Ian Fleming, for those who were at sea. 1962, the largest crowd ever assembled in Jamaica up to that time turned out to watch the Independence Float Parade on this day in 1962, where every conceivable aspect of the country's life was depicted in a grand and colorful pageant. That was 1962. 1961, in an effort to stem the tide of refugees attempting to leave East Berlin, the communist government of East Germany began building the Berlin Wall to divide East and West Berlin. Construction of the wall caused a short-term crisis in US-Soviet bloc relations, and the wall itself came to symbolize the Cold War. In late 1989, with communist governments falling throughout Eastern Europe, the Berlin Wall was finally opened and then demolished. For many observers, this action was the signal that the Cold War was finally coming to an end. 1959, a recommendation by the police to paint curb walls yellow in no parking areas was approved as an experiment by the Traffic Committee of the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation. In making the recommendation, Superintendent Charles Howell of the Police Traffic Department told the committee that often motorists who break the no parking rule complained they did not see the sign. 1955, residents living on Mountain View Avenue and Johnson Pen in eastern Kingston petitioned the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, protesting the presence of a bawdy house whose resident ladies romp with their transient lovers on the street within sight of children. In addition, the sound system, which blares until daylight with its accompanying sounds of revelry, disturbs their rest. The petition asks the corporation to send the girls back to Sheffield Road, Slip Dock, and Springfield Gardens, from whence they came. So you get a picture that Mountain View Avenue and the Johnson Penn area in eastern Kingston were upscale areas. So imagine the trepidation of the residents seeing and hearing all these things happening in their upscale community. A bawdy house, and you can figure out what that was. A bawdy, B-A-W-D-Y house, whose resident ladies romp with their transient lovers on the street within sight of children. That was 1955 here in Jamaica. 1953, businessman F.K. Hanna's request to the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation to have Rosemont Avenue off South Camp Road renamed Hanna Avenue was turned down. Hanna had donated the road which he had built to the KSAC. The road was named Rosemount Avenue, as that was the name of Mr. Hanna's house. So here's an instance where a businessman who built a road, and the KSAC wanted to name the road in his honor. He said, nope, no, please don't do that. Just call the road Rosemount Avenue. Yeah, well, who is it? The mayor of Westmoreland, who is still in that position, who has named the building in his honor. Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah. So that's 2021. 1953, different situation. 1942, a resolution passed by the Denham Town Citizens Association in Kingston called for the setting up of a labor camp to which able-bodied men between the ages of 18 and 40 who could obtain employment but refused to work and habitually abstain from working would be drafted and set to work. See how long we've been trying to come to grips with the unemployed? This was 1942. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Battling life's storm is never easy. Insurance can be a hassle. Axia Jamaica Limited is your calm within the storm. They partner with you to cover your life the way you envisioned it. Axia Insurance for home, motor, life, property, and more. Forging new partnerships. Axia Jamaica Insurance Agency. Telephone 876-978-5906 or 876-978-4569.
On the tail end of the usual observances and highlights of Jamaica and Jamaican history, we have been giving you the whole hog this afternoon, as they say. I'm sure Rascava wouldn't be eating at that table, but such is the nature of the expression. No offense meant there, but it's the expression. So we're giving you everything this afternoon in a manner of speaking in terms of some of the significant happenings on this day, especially in Jamaican history, although we have thrown in a couple of international historical situations. Let's look at 1939. Noel Nethersole hit 84 runs for Kingston Cricket Club versus Unifruit Company in 1939, including 6 sixes and 8 fours. At close of play, Unifruit Co. replied with 23 for 1, the wicket being captured by Nethersole, whose figures read 4 overs, 1 maiden, 8 runs, 1 wicket. That's the same Noel Nethersole who was born on November 2, 1903, educated at Jamaica College, read law and practiced law in Jamaica from 1926, served as vice president of the People's National Party, member of the House of Representatives and Minister of Finance from 1955. He died on March 17, 1959 Noel Crab Nethersole was a good left-handed all-rounder, as you can tell by the figures we shared earlier on. He attended Oxford University as a Rhodes Scholar in 1953, but failed to get a blue. What does that mean? A sportsman who represents or has represented Oxford or Cambridge University who would have the right to wear the university color. Nonetheless, he went on to play for Oxfordshire before returning home and captaining Jamaica for several seasons. From 1939 to 1955, Crab Nethersole served on the West Indies Board of Control, and he had been a member of the House of Representatives since 1949. If you're still not sure who we're talking about, the next time you go near the Kingston waterfront, be sure to visit the Bank of Jamaica. You don't necessarily have to go inside. There's a statue of Noel Newton Crab Nethersole in front of the Bank of Jamaica building. If that's too much for you, check around and see if you can find a Jamaican $20 note. The image on the $20 note is that of Noel Nethersole. The $20 note was circulated between 1976 and 2000. So up to 2000, we still had a $20 note? Oh dear. Apart from serving as Jamaica's finance minister from 1955 to 1959, Noel Nethersole was also solicitor of the Supreme Court of Jamaica. As finance minister, Mr. Nethersole foresaw the need for the establishment of a stock exchange, a development bank, and a central bank as tools necessary for the execution of a sound monetary policy. By the time of his death at age 57 in 1959, plans for the establishment of the central bank were well underway. Let's see. Berlin, Germany hosted the Olympics on this day in 1936, or around this time, 1936, and the youngest winner of a gold medal at that time was America's 13-year-old diver, Marjorie Gestring, who won the springboard event. Let's see. President Franklin Roosevelt signed the Social Security Bill in America in 1935. The Falmouth Parochial Board held their last meeting in the Falmouth Courthouse on this day in 1926. 1 week later, on August 19, 1926, about 2 in the morning, fire broke out in a dry goods store built entirely of wood. On this day on the 19th of August, 1926. And let's see. There's a lot more information here, but we're going to move down the line. Let's see. 1923 marked the birth of a man whose dismissal led to repercussions for the umpire in his debut test innings against England in Kingston in the 1953-54 series. John J.K. Holt was on 94 when he was given out LBW by umpire Perry Burke, whose family were assaulted by spectators. West Indies won by 140 runs, and Holt got his maiden, scoring 166 in another in Barbados. The Washington, D.C. was dedicated as a memorial in 1922. On this day in 1915, or starting on this day in 1915, Jamaica was hit by a hurricane. The hurricane left Jamaica the following day, but more than a month later, another hurricane hit the island, September 25 to 26. Both hurricanes wrought much damage to property and agriculture, especially bananas. On this day in 1908, Ford's Model T rolled off the assembly line. Hawaii was formally annexed to the United States on this day in 1898. Hawaii was later given territorial status and was given statehood in 1959. The brief and one-sided Spanish-American War came to an end on this day in 1898 when Spain formally agreed to a peace protocol on U.S. terms. the cession of Cuba, Puerto Rico, and Manila in the Philippines to the United States, pending a final peace treaty. The Spanish-American War had its origins in the rebellion against Spanish rule that began in Cuba in 1895. Born on this day in 1897, the first man to captain West Indies to victory in a test match, Marius Maurice Fernandez. Fernandez averaged only 12.25 with the bat in his 2 tests, but in the second test in Georgetown in the 1929-1930 series, he made some useful runs and masterminded a win by 289 runs that squared the series. On this day in 1877, Thomas Edison described the fundamentals of the phonograph to an assistant and instructed him to construct one. Edison had discovered the principles behind the phonograph when trying to invent a telegraph repeater. In the process, he developed a cylinder covered with foil that made sounds when played by a needle. Edison patented the phonograph 6 months later, making the first sound recording. Edison handed the model of his invention to John Crucy with instructions on how to build it. Crucy, a confident man, bet the inventor $2 and said that there was no way that the machine would ever work. Needless to say, Crucy lost the bet. 1865. Those of us who take disinfectant in this day and age of sanitization and COVID-19 and all should know that disinfectant was used. Those of us who take disinfectant for granted, disinfectant was used for the very first time during surgery on this day in 1865. Disinfectant was used for the very first time during surgery on this day in 1865. The disinfectant was used by British surgeon Joseph Lister, Lister, first Baron Lister, the first doctor to use an antiseptic during surgery. Lord Lister brought to surgery the principle of antisepsis, which was an outgrowth of Louis Pasteur's theory that bacteria cause infection. So on this day in 1865, Lord Joseph Lister proved the effectiveness of his methods, thus founding modern antiseptic surgery. Using carbolic acid as and we have carbolic soap these days, or for some years now, don't we? Carbolic soap. Well, using carbolic acid as the antiseptic agent, he devised techniques of applying it that, when used in conjunction with his heat sterilization of instruments, brought about dramatic decreases in post-operative fatality. He developed absorbable ligatures and the drainage tube, both of which have come into general use for wounds and incisions. Before Lord Joseph Lister's use of disinfectant, a lot of patients would eventually die after surgery due to infections from unclean surgical instruments. Lord Lister, who became president of the Royal Society, tried unsuccessfully to disassociate his name from Listerine when the product was first marketed, much preferring to see himself commemorated by the Lister Institute of Preventive Medicine in London, of which he was a founder. Lord Lister is also credited with inventing the forceps, a serrated surgical saw called the Lister, and many other surgical instruments. So the next time you survive surgery or use Listerine, remember Lord Joseph Lister, the man who promoted the idea of sterile surgery by sterilizing surgical instruments. Let's go to 1851. Isaac Singer of New York City patented the double treadle sewing machine on this day in 1851. Although a sewing machine had already been patented, Singer's sewing machine was revolutionary, having a double treadle. With patent in hand, Isaac Singer set up shop in Boston, Massachusetts, and began to manufacture his invention. Even after huge settlements paid to Elias Howe, another sewing machine patent holder, Singer, through business innovations like installment buying, he would buy after sale. He would include after sale servicing and trade-in allowances, and he pretty much had the marketplace all sewn up. Although he lost a suit for infringement brought by Elias Howe, who exhibited his first machine in 1845 and patented another in 1846, no financial backing was secured in the United States, and in 1846 a third machine was sold in England, together with all rights in Great Britain to William Thomas. Howe worked with Thomas in London to produce a machine to stitch leather. After a breach between the two, Howe returned to the United States to find his machine being manufactured by others. He brought several suits, including one against Isaac M. Singer for infringement of patent, and finally obtained a judgment for royalty in 1854. With the royalties earned through an extension of his patent, 1861 to 67, he supported, during the Civil War, an infantry regiment in which he served as a private, and in 1865 established in Bridgeport, Connecticut, the Howe Machine Company. But back to Singer, whose company was already so well established that it took the lead in a subsequent combination of manufacturers and pooling of patents. Between 1851 and 1865, Singer patented 20 improvements, including the yielding presser foot and a continuous wheel feed. What are the lessons to be learned from this story? First of all, copyright your intellectual property. That is, anything you create, protect it. Secondly, there are varying degrees of effort. You can always claim to have done it first, but how well did you do it? You can always say you tried, but how hard did you try? You can always say you did your best, but was your best good enough? Yes, I know we're not perfect and we're only human, but we can always do better. Can you imagine if all the great men and women who have gone before us didn't do better than those before them? Wouldn't we be worse off? Think on these things as we go to the break.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. It's young. It's fresh. It's worldviews from a youth perspective. It's Gen Z, navigating the ups and downs of everyday life. Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Power 106 FM.
I said, this is the land of my birth. I said, this is the land of my birth.
Thanks a lot. We have been gifted an opportunity to just share with you these historical nuggets, and we trust you are finding them useful. On this day in 1834, former slaves were still objecting to the apprenticeship system, which was introduced and which, according to them, made them half free. Among these were John Minot, apprentice on the Friendship Hall estate in St. Andrew, who was sentenced to 14 days hard labor for addressing his fellow apprentices with lawless harangues. And John Graskell of the Mount Sinai property in the same parish, who was found guilty of insubordination and influencing others to do the same. He was sentenced to receive 24 lashes and 14 days hard labor. Black slaves on the island of Santo Domingo rose up against their white masters in 1791. In 1781, Robert, he was the architect and engineer whose designs included the National Portrait Gallery and the U.S. Treasury Building. On this day in 1753, two brothers who owned a number of properties in the parishes of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland William and John Foster Braham invited Moravian minister Reverend John Sennick to come to Jamaica to minister to their slaves so that they can receive the blessing and enlightenment of the gospel. That was 1753. Let's take you back to 1494. And we're going to end with this one at 1494. As Christopher Columbus and his men continued their discovery of Jamaica on this day in 1494, the fleet cast anchor in a small cove, which was very beautiful with 7 offshore islets, one of which was very mountainous, with a mass of villages and regarded by the admiral as very large. But he concluded afterwards that it was part of Jamaica. Numerous natives dotted the shore. These inhabitants were more interested in trade than the others he had met elsewhere in the island. Columbus named the area or bay Bahia de la Vaca, Bahia de la Vaca, or Cow Bay, today known as Portland Bight. So what is now known as Portland Bight was originally named Bahia de la Vaca, Vaca meaning cow, Bahia meaning bay, Bay of the Cow, Bahia de la Vaca, Cow Bay, today known as Portland Bight. One of the local caciques visited the Spanish ships bearing provisions that the Spaniards paid for. Though Diego, the Indian interpreter, Diego, the Indian interpreter, helped Columbus to, in fact, he was able to interpret for the admiral as he sought to converse with the indigenous cacique in order to explain the purpose of his voyage and to impress upon him the greatness of the monarchs who had sent the expedition. The cacique and his companions listened spellbound until nightfall to the discoverer's story. The following day, the cacique and his family were ready to travel with Columbus, but he dissuaded from engaging in such an enterprise. The ships sailed from what is today's Port Royal, and by August 19 were continuing on their way in line with Morant Point, which they named Cabo del Farol, Cabo del Farol. From this moment, Jamaica was of no further interest to Columbus until the 4th voyage. The time spent on its shores did not bring him the good fortune his former visits. So that is where we're going to leave the history notes for now. And hello to Natalie Winter. Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. William Graves, thank you very much for joining us as well. And now a long list of people to say hi to after that long break. ¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5 menos 10. Quelle heure est-il en français? Well, the time just changed. Il est 5 heures moins 9. 现在几点了？5点加09分. 9 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? Yes, young people, we know you're on holiday. We know it's summer. But you know what we always say, even when school is out, homework is always in, because homework is about preparation, and proper preparation prevents poor performance. And as we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And parents and guardians, do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. Good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Carol in Calgary, Alberta, Canada asks, isn't what taking place a violation of the Maroon sovereignty? That's problematic, Carol. You might want to not speak too much about it right now, or take a position, because the understanding is there are questions as to the legality, if at all, because there seems to be, in other words, a court of the land, Jamaica, apparently has never been asked or invited to make a pronouncement as to the status of Akompong. And in the absence of that, it's pretty much what we know and what we have learned from the history. But in terms of legal standing, that's another matter. We'll have to speak with a constitutional lawyer like Lloyd Barnett, the Honorable Lloyd Barnett, to get some more on that. But that's a sticky one, actually, Carol. She's asking now, was that Honorable Lisa Hanna's relative? It is possible, in reference to the businessman Hanna, who built that road. Yes, that's possible. We didn't go that far in the research. Chuck Ray says if Mr. Hanna was Jewish, he would be lobbying to have the street named after him. Well, maybe you know more than we do, Chuck Ray, to be drawing that conclusion. And Carol says most definitely. Chuck Ray says go in major city in Canada and most public spaces bear their names. Carol says, I know. Chuck Ray lists Ashheim Road. Chuck Ray says they have a penchant for self-promotion like no other culture. Reverend MacDonald in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada says, good afternoon. Blessings to you and all Jamaicans. It's a good thing for all Jamaicans at home and abroad to take the vacation. It will help to save lives and bring things back to normal. Thank you, from Reverend MacDonald in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. And Steve, who is also in Canada, alerts us to the fact that Canada is on election watch. Thank you very much for that update, Steve, in Toronto, Canada. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. Before we go, a couple of messages to clear, though, quickly. Errol in Spanish Town says, hi, Dervan, why don't the government deal decisively with the Maroons? We can't have a state within a state. It must be one or the other. These Maroons believe they are untouchable. They were very disrespectful to the police. Thank you, Errol in Spanish Town, for your message. Tevin says, Dervan, would you like to have a word with a Jamaican living in the UK and who is doing very good and helping a lot of Jamaicans? His latest project is helping a lady to do a heart surgery. He raised the money with his friend and visited Jamaica to pay roughly 1.5 million for the young lady to get her surgery done. And he's doing very well in the UK. Yes, would love to feature him, Tevin. Please provide further and better particulars, and we'll be happy to oblige. Rio Cobre, let me see this one. Right, let's leave it there. Can we thank you once again for the privilege observing you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Thursday, the 12th of August, 2021. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel off a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
Get along, though some people say we are poor, but the progress you make, my friend, is not always a rich you are. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Let us stop for a minute, count our blessings one by one. We should never be disloyal, but stand up and keep strong. My Jamaica is a beautiful island. She is the core of the Caribbean Sea. And our people, they are free, no oppression yet to see. With the prettiest woman there be. On the hills and the plains and the rivers and the valleys, always beckon to me. I say this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. Miss Tourist, Miss a Tourist, leave your land and come. Tarry here for a while and have a bed in the warm sun. We will share a lot with you. Our people, they are true. They will want to be with you. They will love, they will help, they will give. If you wish, my friend, you can live. You will be a happier one in the land of the rising sun. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica, the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is the land of my birth. I said this is Jamaica, my Jamaica.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
Good afternoon, I am Dervan Gordon. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Thursday, August 12, 2021. UHWI says vaccinated persons who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 at the institution had received only one dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Chaos at a vaccination center in St. Anne. JDF says that there will be consequences for soldiers who do not take the COVID-19 vaccine. The government and Maroons in St. Elizabeth set